What is up, YouTube? The question of the day is, are motion inputs dead in Street Fighter? This image right here sure would have you think that. It says Hadouken with a single button. Just by pressing triangle on your controller, you can get a full Ryu fireball. And the reason that this is a thing when it wasn't before is because Street Fighter 6 is adding a modern control style, which is going to be different from the classic 6-button classic control style, where you actually get a special move button included with it, which allows you to do a special move just by hitting your button or by pressing a direction in that button. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the differences between the modern and classic control style, why it's good for new players in terms of trying to enter the game for the first time. Do I think it's going to be tournament legal? And if it is tournament legal, do I think it will be tournament viable to pick the modern control style over the classic one? And I'll give my final thoughts, like, is this a good decision by Capcom or is it a mistake? But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind all of you, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button since it helps the channel out a lot, and leave a like and comment on the video since it boosts this specific video out a lot as well. And let's get into it. Alright, so let's first talk about exactly what is different with the modern control style. So this is the classic style, which is what you're going to be used to. It's 6 buttons. You have your light punch, medium punch, and heavy punch, and light kick, medium kick, and heavy kick. And in order to do any of the like system-wide mechanics, like a throw or any of your drive system moves, you're going to be hitting 2 of the buttons, or you're going to be assigning one of your other buttons as like a macro. And we compare that with the modern control style, where you have your special move button, as I was talking about before. But another big difference is that instead of having like your 6 buttons for your attacks, you only have 3. You have a light attack, a medium attack, and a heavy attack. So you don't have like a light punch and a light kick, you just have a light attack. And another thing that this causes is that you can't do like a throw, for instance, by pressing light punch and light kick, since you don't have that. So you have to have a throw button, and you have your drive system moves as well. So obviously the reason that Capcom added this is to help new players that haven't played a Street Fighter game in the past to like just jump right in, and they say it right here very clearly. Players who are delving into the world of Street Fighter for the first time, or those who haven't touched a fighting game in years, can jump right into the fray. Of course, the traditional control type of the series is still available for players who enjoy it. For people that have been playing fighting games for a long time, like I'm one of them, we might not like know the significance of having an easy input to do a special move, but it is a very real barrier in terms of trying to get into the game, that a lot of beginners are having a lot of trouble doing special moves at first, and they get discouraged, or they see all the buttons. They see 6 different buttons, right, for light punch, light kick, medium punch, medium kick, heavy punch, heavy kick, and it's like a lot to try and get into their head. So having all of this like very simplified in terms of having the only one light, medium, and heavy attack button, and especially the special moves, because even if they knew the inputs, it was hard sometimes for beginners to do them. And I really like this idea of having a special move button, because it's a concept a lot of people are already familiar with, because you have it in Super Smash Bros. And actually that's the default way to play Ryu in Super Smash Bros. Is you just press forward and like your special attack button to get a Shoryuken. I think neutral B is a Hadouken. I think it's actually the exact same thing as the modern control style in Street Fighter 6 is what they went with in Smash. So I think the fact that a lot of people are already used to this special move button is going to help them pick up the game a lot faster, and maybe be more interested in the game, so we'll have more Street Fighter players. This is going to help beginners just like pick up the game, try it out, like really get into the strategy in terms of like maybe they know they're supposed to anti-air with a DP and they couldn't do it before, but now they understand what they're supposed to do, and maybe they can switch to the classic control style later on after they have a grasp of how the game is actually supposed to play, and they don't get like bogged down in the mechanics of just trying to figure out how to do moves, which I feel like isn't supposed to be like the hard part of figuring out a game, and it's not very rewarding compared to actually like beating someone, right? And for newer players, they also have this assisted combo button. I know a lot of people were baited by like it's saying assist here into thinking like this was a 2v2 game and not just having like a 1v1. There's potentially a 2v2 mode, we're not sure, but all we've seen so far is 1v1. You can see right here, you hold down the assisted combo button and then there's basically a sequence of buttons that you press, kind of like Mortal Kombat or Injustice type, where you just like press a button sequence and you get a sequence of moves. So you can see for Ryu, you get a light kick into Hadouken if you do square square. You can see solar plexus into Hashogeki into super if you do XXX, and if you press circle 4 times, you get back heavy kick, EX donkey kick, Shoryuken into Shin Shoryuken. So the reason I like this assisted combo especially is it's going to be able to make new players feel like they're doing something cool and that they don't have to like learn a combo at first in order to get started. Like there's a very basic combo in order to get started. Like if you want to spend 1 bar, just do this combo. If you want to spend like I'm assuming that this super spends more bars. I'm not really sure at the moment, but they spend like 2 drive gauge bars to do the EX donkey kick, and then they spend a super art gauge to do this. So they're able to spend their resources without like really learning a combo, just by knowing this system-wide assisted combo. And this will also help people pick out a character at first, because like they'll be trying out different characters and it's really annoying trying to find your character and you have to learn all the different combos for each character before like realizing maybe this character is not for me. But if you have an assisted combo that you can just do with every character, it becomes a lot easier just to pick up and try characters for about 2 or 3 matches. And the main thing like I don't mind assisted combos with is that these are not optimal at all. Like you can clearly see it's a light kick into fireball. There's going to be more useful combos, and if you only know how to do the assisted combos, you're going to be limiting yourself a lot, and these are not hard combos in the first place if you are an experienced player. So if you are an experienced player, then like there's no reason you can't just do the combos anyway, so you're not really getting any advantage out of these assisted combos. So yeah, for assisted combo, there is not really any upside in terms of picking it, aside from it just like making it easier at the start to get into the game. But now let's talk about the differences between modern and classic control types, because I think there are some real differences besides just helping new players get into it. That's going to determine like how the modern control type is going to be playing out in competitive matches. So first we'll talk about the pros of using the modern control type. The main pro is that special moves that were hard to do before, you can do them very easily. And this isn't like some type of thing where if you're able to do the move with the motion, you're not going to be able to benefit from just having a 1 button thing, because you're actually able to do full super arts just by pressing a button and not having to do the full motion input. Like let's say it takes me 1/4 of a second to input Shin Shoryuken normally by doing like the double quarter circle forward into punch, but I can, if I pick the modern control type, I can just do the Shin Shoryuken instantly. And if someone is jumping at me, maybe that reaction time comes into play, because I can just punish them super hard if I'm using this modern control type. But if I'm on the classic type, I have to work a lot harder. I might not have the reactions in order to do so. And yeah, this is just a very clear benefit for the modern type, where you're going to be able to react to things with special moves a lot faster. And obviously it's not just super arts, that's just like the extreme example, but being able to like Tatsu through a fireball, for example, that's a lot easier. Shoryuken to whiff punish, that's like a very big thing now, because you can just press 1 button into it instead of doing a whole motion. So that's the pro of using the modern control style, but there is a con as well. And the con is that you're not going to have access to all of your moves. So you can see that they show the Hadouken, the Tatsu, the Shoryuken, the donkey kick. So you might think this is all of Ryu's special moves, but if you're paying attention and you took a look at the PlayStation blog post, you know that Ryu has at least 2 more moves. So he has Denjin Charge, which powers up his fireball, and he has Hashogeki. Denjin Charge also powers up his Hashogeki, which is like this. It seems like a pressure tool that Ryu is going to have, and also it leads to combos if you have the Denjin Charge available. You can see the Denjin Hashogeki goes into donkey kick right here. And if you're picking the modern control type, you're not going to have access to this. Like you have a forward triangle, back triangle, down triangle, you have regular triangle. There's simply no other directions you can put to do a special move, and they don't show them here. So it's pretty clear that picking the modern control type means you're not going to have access to your character's full tool sets. And in the same way, since you only have like light attack, medium attack, and heavy attack, I'm assuming you're not going to be able to have access to all of your normal buttons as well, since it's probably going to be like a forward light attack is like a light punch, a back light attack is like a light kick, and at the very least it's going to make it very complicated to do those moves. And it's also probably going to be the fact that there's going to be some command normals that you're not going to be able to do, because in Street Fighter a lot of the times there's going to be like a lot of different moves you can do in terms of normal. If you press a back heavy punch, that's already a thing. Like back heavy punch and forward heavy punch are going to be different moves. Just pressing a heavy attack and forward and back is going to not cover all the potential normal attacks you can do. But this doesn't apply to anything else, so you're going to have access to your whole drive system. You're able to do your drive parry with this button. You're able to do drive impact. I think drive reversal is forward drive impact. Drive rush is just dash, so you're able to do that as well. And overdrive is just pressing 2 buttons, so you're also going to be able to do that as well. So the question is, do I think this is going to be tournament legal, the modern control style? And the reason that I think the answer is yes, well, there's 2 reasons. First, they say of course the traditional control type of the series is still available for players who enjoy it. It sounds like it's not supposed to just be the traditional control style, but the modern control type is going to be used for the most part. And the second reason is because the name is modern. Like, why would they make the only control type legal in tournament the classic one when there's a modern one? Like, the name modern makes it seem like it's just going to be allowed. If they were going to make a controller type which wasn't allowed, I think they would call it like easy mode or like assisted mode, right? Where it's very clear it's just to help new players. But they named it the modern style, which makes it sound like it's actually going to be used. So I think at the very least it's going to be tournament legal, and maybe it's going to be what most people are going to be using. So do I think it's going to be tournament viable? I think it's going to depend on the character actually, and it depends how useful the special moves that they're losing and the different attacks that they're losing out, how much those matter to their gameplay. So Ryu, for example, he's going to lose out on at least this Hashogeki and the Denjin charge. I think the Denjin charge probably isn't too important, but maybe the Hashogeki is important enough in his pressure that being able to use it is very important, and that the reaction time on DPs and supers does not compensate for having this move in his arsenal. And I think a certain type of character this could actually benefit a lot, and the kind of character I'm talking about is charged characters, right? So it's very unclear right now if the modern control style is going to make it so that charged characters don't have to like charge up their moves. But if they really don't have to, and like a Guile player can just press a button and flash kick, it seems like the modern control style is going to win out for characters like Guile. And Guile doesn't even have a lot of special moves. He literally only has Sonic Boom and Flash Kick. So there's no way that's not going to fit in the modern control style completely. And it seems like there would be very little downsides to using it over the classic control style. I am kind of hoping that like the modern control style requires some type of charge in some way, because a Flash Kick that doesn't require any sort of charge, that really does seem broken. Another direction that Capcom could go with this is that like maybe there aren't charged characters in this game, but it would be extremely weird to have Guile in the game and him not have charge moves. And I feel like having charge moves is like a very iconic part of like the game. But yeah, in any case, I think it's going to depend on the character if a modern control style or a traditional control style is viable. It's going to be like whether reactions are important in terms of your special moves and your supers, or if the toolkit that you actually lose out on is more important. And I think depending on the character, it's going to be one or the other. My own personal feelings are though, is that I hope the modern control style is not like as good as the classic control style, because not for like the easiness aspect of it, but I like seeing characters at their full potential, trying to use all their different moves and stuff, and trying to optimize a character fully. Like I feel like picking the modern control style prioritizes reactions and stuff, but the classic one prioritizes like character strategy, right? And I feel like that's a more interesting part of fighting games than someone just raw reacting to everything with DP. So let me just give my final thoughts on this. I think that Capcom did a good thing in terms of allowing this modern control style. Like, I think having new players have this option, especially the assisted combo, I think that's going to help people stick to the game, be interested in the game initially, and keep playing it. But I'm really hoping this isn't something that we really see very often in tournament. I think it'd be cool to see like once in a while, but I really hope that the modern control style isn't like the optimal play style, because I don't want to see like characters that are like nerfed in terms of their potential moveset. I want to see characters like fighting it out, like Ryu using his Hashogeki move. I don't want to see someone just playing Ryu and then pressing one button and DPing in pro play all the time. Anyways, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the modern control style, whether you like it, whether you think Capcom made a mistake. This is probably going to be my last video for Street Fighter 6 until any more new information comes out, because I can't really think of anything else to make a video about. But if you guys have any ideas, leave them in the comments so I know what to make a video on. And yeah, hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.